I love you, I tell him, holding nothing back. I love you more than anything. Honestly, if I had a choice between losing my magic or losing you, I would rather lose my magic because that's how important you are to me. I want to say that I would never do anything to jeopardize our relationship, but it seems like I've already screwed everything up. Tori. Hieronymous hesitates before he shakes his head. I can be mad at you, but you're right. We don't have a lot of time right now, and if what we both suspect is true, then there's nothing you could have done to have prevented this. I am sorry, though. You are in this position only because of my father. I don't care, I tell him, quite honestly. You don't choose your family. Right now, I just want to know what is going to happen between us. I thought I had the whole rest of the year to figure things out with you, and now it seems like none of that matters. Do you really mean what you said about me going to London tonight? I mean it, Hieronymous says as he looks at me, and I'm going with you. Can you really just quit your job like that? I ask. What about 30 days notice and all that? Who will teach blue magic and host detention? That's not my problem, Hieronymous says simply. And if Potsdam does have a problem with it, I'm sure she can just take it up with my father. That's fair, I say, nodding to myself. But it says it's an all-girls boarding school. That means I won't be able to live with you. It's only for 1 year, Hieronymous says gently. Besides, I'll be busy preparing to assume my father's title. I'll be traveling between here and the other world frequently. Maybe it is best we make the transition in a place where you can sit tight and make sure no harm befalls you. I suppose, I say quietly as I push the toe of my sneaker into the floor. So I have to go 1 whole year without seeing you? I don't know if I can do that. We can write to each other, Hieronymous says. Even if I don't have time to write to you daily, you're still free to write to me. I've seen how fast you write and how loquacious you can be. I smile at him, but I can feel tears starting to form in my eyes now. Weekly, I insist. You need to write to me at least once a week. No, twice a week. The absolute last thing I need is for me to think something bad happened to you and go into a panic spin. All you need to say is, I'm fine, I'm just busy, and sign it with your -H, and I'll be okay with that. Hieronymous strides over to me with sudden purpose as he sweeps me up in his arms, literally lifting my feet off the ground. It's okay, Tori. It's just 1 year. We'll get through this together, okay? I smile up at him. That's all I wanted to hear. He sets me down as he kisses my forehead. Now, start packing your things. I nod and immediately head into the closet and pull out my suitcase. I really just have clothes and books, I say as I start stuffing them in. What are you going to do with all of your stuff? I'll send someone to retrieve them and bring them to Ravane, Hieronymous says with a shrug. Will you take my wedding dress? I ask him. I would take it with me, but I wouldn't have a reason to wear it without you there, and I don't want anything to happen to it. Of course, Hieronymous says gently. He's watching me with some untold emotion playing behind his eyes, and I can't help but sulk as I continue to pack my things. I am sorry, I say. I'm sorry for sneaking out. I'm sorry for not telling you about Musette. I'm sorry for every single time I ever ignored you or acted mean to you just because I couldn't be bothered enough to put enough effort into our relationship. I started to take you for granted, and now I wish I had appreciated you more, especially since I don't know when is the next time I'll get to see you again. Distance makes the heart grow fonder, Hieronymous says gently as he comes over to kiss my forehead. His fingers drop down to the stone around my chest. You have this. No matter where I am, on this plane or the next, just remember that I am always right there with you. I'll fall asleep every night listening to your heartbeat, I assure him. Will you? Of course I will, Hieronymous replies, so simply, so automatically that I can't help but jump up and wrap my arms around him. You were everything to me, I remind him before I suddenly pause. Ellen, though, now Ellen has no one. She knew the risks, Hieronymous admonishes me. I know you haven't had time to process that yet, but you need to worry about yourself now. What Miss Middleton did is over now. You can't let what happened to her affect you. You need to be strong for yourself now. I know, I say quietly, but I'm also worried about Virginia. I have no idea why she would give Ellen something like that, but I don't want her getting in trouble. There is nothing you can do, Tori, Hieronymous reminds me. Potsdam is in charge here. She is the ultimate authority. She can do what she likes at her school. I snort. No wonder so many of the parents want her replaced. She's let it go to her head. If you are so concerned, you just said it yourself. The Danson family is at the height of the magical social scene, Hieronymous reminds me. Can you imagine what people would say if they found out one of the Danson siblings has been expelled? I pause for a moment as I take this in. So that's why, no matter what pranks Donald committed, he would never get expelled? Because of the Danson's position in the magical community? Magical communities take care of their own, Hieronymous reminds me. Miss Middleton was a wild seed. So am I remind him, but Hieronymous just shakes his head. My father mentioned your mother might have had magical blood, he says, almost a bit dismissively. But what is important is that you are a Grabiner now, Tori. Don't let anyone know where you came from. Don't make your life harder for yourself than it has to be. What kind of school is this? I ask him. Are all of the people there rich and important? Most likely, Hieronymous replies. It's a school for young girls to learn the skills required to become proper ladies. Wait. So I'm going to have to learn how to, dance and how to sew and how to make polite conversation and whatever else they expect noble women to do? Most likely, Hieronymous repeats. I can't help but make a face. Tori, as much as I love your personality, some of your manners could use some more refinement, particularly where eating is concerned. Hey, I eat with my mouth closed when you're in the room, I reply, and Hieronymous just sighs as he rolls his eyes, and I let myself hang my head in defeat. I guess you're right. Maybe if I learn how to act like a mature young lady, you'll like me more. Tori, Hieronymous withdraws slightly. I like you now, just as you are. The bad habits that you have will wane with time as you grow and mature on your own. While I do hope that some of the lessons they instill upon you will help, I don't want them to change you. A year apart from each other is going to change us both, I remind him. After a year, you may not want to be with me anymore. You might go back to remembering how much you like your solitude. Not possible, Hieronymous says with a firm shake of his head. If anything, it will help me appreciate the time we spend together so much more after this respite. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that a Viscount needs his Viscountess to run his household. In short, I would be absolutely useless without you. Well, that does help, I say as I grin at him. I just hope that we aren't two different people in a year from now and we won't be able to fit together as well as we once did. I'm not concerned, Hieronymous says with a firm shake of his head. I love you just as much as you love me, Tori, and I would never want anything to drive us apart. People don't change much in 1 year, but even if we do, that will only be to our benefit. I pause for a moment, taking in his words. How so? We have lived together for a year now, Hieronymous reminds me. We've learned each other's habits, routines, and preferences, some of which have gone completely unsaid. In this upcoming year, we will both have many new experiences and have that much more to share with each other when we are finally together again. I can't help but smile up at him. Well, look at you, putting a positive spin on things. I close my suitcase and zip it up. That's it. I'm all packed up. I never did carry much with me, but now I almost wished I had more to prolong the inevitable. We've had so many firsts in this room, and now I'm never going to step back here again. I can feel tears starting to burn in my eyes, and Hieronymous pulls me into a hug. I'm glad, out of the two of us, that you are the one that is ridiculously sentimental, he teases. I fear I might collapse if I had to carry the weight of your emotional baggage. So, you're not going to miss it? I ask as I look up at him, blinking back tears. I'm going to miss you, he tells me firmly as he presses a kiss to my lips. Now come on, let's go. As he leads me out the door and shuts it behind him for the last time, I couldn't help but remember that home was a person, not a place. Hieronymous and I had traded kisses in many different places, most of them on Iris Academy's grounds, but now there was no going back for me. I remember when I had been sitting on the mailroom couch, wondering if I would make it to graduation, and now I knew the answer. I wouldn't. But I still had my magic. I still had Hieronymous. Whatever challenges life wanted to throw at me, I knew I could take them. Although life was a collection of many different events, the experiences didn't matter as much as who you shared them with. And, now that I had met Hieronymous, I knew there wasn't anyone else I would rather spend the rest of my life with. And I could now say, with complete certainty, that the feeling was mutual. Whatever reservations he had about our relationship, I had proven myself to him time and time again, and even though we had to undergo this trial, we would be able to live together again soon, not as student and professor, but as husband and wife. Even though we would forever be working to mend the age and cultural gap between us, at least one of our more significant problems had now solved itself. Hieronymous had quit being a teacher. I was no longer a student of Iris Academy. I was no longer married to my professor.